Nope, I'm high. How about I wash off the grapes?
Yes.
Okay.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
I want tacos. Will you drive? I'm a little toasty.
Nope, I'm high. Let's order in.
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be tornado next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Auburn, Alabama, the best atmosphere in all of college sports.
He drives and slips.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Gone deep to the left.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Sideline. Going to the end zone.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
Everybody has that favorite TV show that they just love. Imagine that show dropping a surprise trailer. That's basically what Auburn football did last weekend with its annual spring game. A great reminder to fans that the main event is on the way. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. My name is Vince Wolfram. Last week, Sports Night was in San Antonio, covering Auburn men's basketball and their championship chase all the way to the Final Four. If you haven't been able to catch that show, there's still time for you to head over and watch our recap of the best season in Auburn hoops history. Auburn football, they're on that same championship chase too, and the fans have been starving for it. The countdown to football has begun. People were 136 days away. A-Day took place on Saturday in Jordan-Hare and gave Auburn faithful a good look at what year 3 of the Hugh Freeze era will have to offer. The setup was a little different this year. Typically, A-Day is a scrimmage between offense and defense. This time, though, it was a practice that was open to the public. But the guys, they went at it regardless. From Pat Dye Field, Maddie Bond had a glimpse of the new-look football team.
Auburn football returns with its most anticipated spring event as the program welcomes the Auburn family back into Jordan-Hare. However, A-Day is taking a different approach this year as Coach Hugh Freeze is following suit of many college football programs who are now hosting open practices instead of the typical scrimmage game. Today, Coach Hugh Freeze is showcasing 2 of his newest arms for the Tigers, Jackson Arnold and Deuce Knight. A-Day festivities began with the Tiger Trail induction, where former football greats Steve Wallace and Reese Dismukes received honors. The Tigers took the field at 12 o'clock to begin the open practice, which was broken into 7 periods. Fans got a sneak peek into the 2025 team through a series of drills, running plays, and even a simplified version of the scrimmage game to conclude. After Saturday, Auburn fans are wondering what they can expect from this coming season. A lot of potential from the Auburn defense with a few interceptions off of Deuce Knight, who was put into the spotlight during Saturday's contest. Arnold, being out with a minor hamstring injury, left Knight with the majority of the reps, including a 35-yard touchdown pass to Perry Thompson. Here's what Coach Freeze had to say on spring practice and roster developments.
You have to have top 10 recruiting classes in this league to form an elite roster. And I felt like we could do that at Auburn, and we have in the 2 recruiting classes we've had, and the roster therefore looks different, and feel optimistic that with the 2 we've had, we can compete, should compete this year, and so it does look different. So let's go line up and see what we got.
To wrap up the day, Auburn fans were welcomed to the field for Fan Day, where they could get autographs from the players and the cheerleaders, as well as meeting Coach Hugh Freeze. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Maddie Bond.
The Tigers open up regular season play in Waco, Texas against Baylor on August 29th. That date It'll be here before you know it, and the schedule is going to be a gauntlet, like the SEC almost always is. And many of us in Auburn are so curious as to how the team will perform. Micah Farmer joins me in the studio now. Micah, welcome. The slate of games for the 2025 campaign, no easy task. Plenty of the top recruiting classes, tough matchups, and star players lining the headlines this season. For you, what stands out looking at the 2025 Auburn football schedule?
Well, I think what stands out immediately is this draw, I think, favors Auburn a lot more. With the new SEC schedule matrix, obviously your protected rivals are Georgia and Alabama every year, but those two, you either get them both at home or both away, and this year it's both at home for the Tigers. I think that's huge. You do have to go on the road to College Station for A&M as well as on the road to Waco to play Baylor out of conference, but getting teams at home that you had to go on the road for last year, I think is a big difference. And also, I think the road games you have this year are not quite as difficult. So I like this draw a lot more for Auburn than what we saw last season.
Big picture, looking at the schedule, you're seeing all these tough teams and the recruiting classes and the coaching staffs at all these different programs. What game is one that you think might be a surprise win for the Tigers this year?
Give me the Iron Bowl, Vince. I think you're going to see a little bit of a down Alabama team compared to normal, a little bit of a question mark at quarterback. I'm not sure if the development on defense is quite going to be there as you would normally see from an Alabama team under this Kalen DeBoer staff. And this Auburn team is young but very talented. I like that talent to develop over the course of the season, be at its best at the end in Jordan-Hare against the Tide.
All right, I'm going to ask you one of those way too early preseason questions that we love to ask. Finish this sentence for me. It would make a good season for Auburn if it finished with a what record?
Vince, give me 9-3. I'm upping the expectation a little bit for this team. I think the defense is very solid, led by Keldrick Fogg, Jay Crawford. Those are some very good young cornerstones, and a lot of your winnable games are at home. I think if you can steal a couple, 9-3 is a successful season. I think earlier, if you would ask me this, I would have said somewhere closer to 8-4, 7-5. But because of the schedule, because of the teams you get at home, a successful season, you're going to steal some games. I think that would be the case with that 9-3 record.
Love it. People out there, you heard it here first. Write it down so you don't forget it. A-Day wasn't the only thing getting attention this weekend on the Plains. 3 other sports highlighted. They were hot during the A-Day weekend. Softball, baseball, and tennis. And I'll tell you what, you'll get all the scoop when we come back from this commercial break here on Eagle Eye TV Sports Night in Auburn.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
I was living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision... Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah! Invent...
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. We're going to switch grass here. Started on the gridiron, now we're headed to the diamond. If you weren't at Plainsman Park this weekend and didn't have any bit of FOMO, you can go get yourself checked at the Auburn Med Clinic. It was bumping at Plainsman Park. Energy was at an all-time high, and Keegan Miller is going to walk you through why that was. Keegs, we've seen some ball from Butch Thompson's crew as of late.
Yes, we have, and I know you've missed your baseball updates, but fear not, for I am here to remedy that stinging pain in your achy, breaky heart. We'll start with the number 8 ranked Crimson Tide rolling in and right back out of town. The Tigers took the series, winning Game 1 10-0. The offense came out hot, and there was no cooling it down. I'd like to highlight a player here, but this was a full team win where everybody had their share. The Tigers then lost Game 2 5-6, but bounced right back to win Game 3 7-5 later that day. And this time, I'm going to call it Bub Terrell. Bub had 3 RBIs and was the man to get the scoring started with a 2-run single in the first inning. And when you look at that, the Tigers won by 2 runs. I've hinted at the tough stretch for Auburn, but why take my word when you can hear it straight from the man himself? Butch Thompson, take it away.
We played great last night. We played with a will to have success in this league today. And I'm thankful for that. If we can capture that and break this down tomorrow and Monday, we can grow and gain something, because the next 6 weeks is going to be the same way.
Then it was over to Atlanta to face Georgia Tech for a tough midweek bout. This game started out perfectly with Cooper McMurray hitting a grand slam in the very first inning, but things started to get a little dicey from there. Tech clawed back and snagged a 1-run lead in the 6th, but I've mentioned it before with this team, their fight and determination to win baseball games. Auburn scored 4 runs in the 7th and 8th and used just about every arm they had in the bullpen to hang on and win 9-8. The last series I have is, you guessed it, another big one. Auburn's fifth ranked weekend series in a row, this time against the 3rd-ranked LSU Tigers. Now, I know I've been talking a lot about Auburn's offense, but this pitching staff didn't seem to like my talk, and they were the difference over the weekend, holding a very good, deep, and fantastic LSU lineup to just 8 runs in the sweep, which, by the way, is the first sweep of LSU Auburn has had since 1988. Cade Fisher had his best start in a Tiger uniform, going 5 innings, allowing 1 run off 3 hits and fanning 6. But the biggest factor for Auburn's success right now is their Game 1 starter, Sam Dutton. Dutton has been unworldly over the course of his recent starts and has put this team in great positions, not only to win the games he's pitched in, but the whole series. Yes, he quiets offenses, but he also goes deep into games, setting the bullpen up very nicely for the weekend. Another key to Auburn's recent success in their homestand is the crowd. In back-to-back series, Plainsman Park has broken its attendance record. 7,231 fans is now the number to beat. They're playing right now against Jack State, and they're currently tied 0-0 in the 5th inning. Let's go to baseball, or for softball.
The Auburn softball team took on UAB in a doubleheader for Western Wednesday. The Tigers split the series with the Dragons, winning one 6-1 and losing the other 3-4. Then, the Malvo squad invited in the number 18 Georgia Bulldogs for a 3-game series that would soon become known as Malvo Mania. That's right, folks. The Tigers mashed 6 home runs on Friday, including a KK McCrary walk-off 2-run moonshot deep into the Auburn night. Well, why are we showing you the clip? That after dropping the 2nd game of the series to the Bulldogs 5-10, the Tigers were determined to send the Bulldogs packing right back to Athens. Or at least walk-off Game 1 hero KK McCrary was. Now you can watch the clip. That's right, folks. Mrs. McCrary evidently was not satisfied with her 2-run walk-off just the day before. No, as she felt the need to go ahead and just hit a casual walk-off grand slam. Final score, 8-4 Tigers. This marked the Tigers' 2nd series win against an SEC opponent. The Malvo squad will head to Knoxville on Thursday to take on the Lady Volunteers of Tennessee.
A weekend on the Plains meant a weekend of wins for the women's tennis team. Kicking off with a match against Ole Miss for the Little Rackets rally at the Yarborough Tennis Center, Ole Miss secured an early win with the doubles point, leaving the Auburn singles lineup to pick up the points for the Tigers. After the weather moved the match indoors, Auburn secured the 4 points needed to win from DJ Bennett, Angela Okatoy, Myrna Raffet, and Ava Esposito. Friday's match also marked a milestone for DJ Bennett with her 75th career singles victory and her 25th of the season. Continuing the dominance on the home court, Auburn's women's tennis team hosted LSU and celebrated Senior Day at Yarborough Tennis Center, again getting out early. Doubles duos Myrna Raffet and Angela Okatoy landed the first victory, with Ava Esposito and Maria Garcia landing the 2nd and the doubles point for Auburn. Both doubles partners had 6-2 set wins. Only needing 3 more points, Okatoy, Raffet, and Alice Battisti secured the singles points for a 4-0 Senior Day shutout against LSU. Next up for women's tennis are the SEC Championships, which will be hosted on the Plains at Yarborough Tennis Center From Wednesday through Sunday, the Lady Tennis Tigers have secured the 4-seed spot. They will begin competing on Friday during the quarterfinals at 3 p.m. Good luck to the women's tennis team this weekend.
A lot of luck, but I'm not sure they're going to need it because men's tennis is on fire too, and they're taking off.
With the women dominating at home, the men's tennis team dominated on the road. Their first stop on the Louisiana tour, the Big Easy, for a big match at Tulane. The Tiger doubles came up short, with Tulane taking the first point. Wins from Alex Frisina, Billy Blades, Nicholas Hang, and Hamza Nasruddinov in the singles matches ended the match on a high note with a Tiger win. Just an hour up the state, the men continued their Tour de Louisiana with a Tiger versus Tiger contest at LSU. With the doubles point going to the purple and gold, Auburn's singles lineup was put to the test. Once again, Frisina, Blades, Hang, and Nasruddinov proved why Auburn is the better Tiger with a 4-3 win over LSU. Next up for the men's are the SEC Championships this Wednesday through Sunday in Columbia, South Carolina. The team begins their competition as the 8th seed with a matchup against Kentucky in the second round at 1 p.m. on Thursday. Good luck to our men's tennis team this weekend.
Maddie, Brooks, Keegan, thank you very much. Before we head to break, I've got a trivia question for you. The Auburn women's equestrian team is gearing up to compete at the NCAA quarterfinals. But in what year did the equestrian team become an Auburn varsity sport? A, 1996, B, 2002, C, 1970, or D, 2012? We'll have the answer when we come back.
Touchdown! Did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that?
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere, and just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Put the keys down, Kevin. But I'm gonna drive home. There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
I've taken 25 selfies in the last 10 minutes.
26.
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
Welcome back. Let's get you to the answer for our trivia question. We asked, what year did Auburn equestrian become a varsity sport? If you were smart enough to guess 2002, you nailed it. Auburn officially elevated equestrian to varsity status in 2002, and it's been making history ever since. What started as a club team turned into a national powerhouse, and a huge part of that success is due to head coach Greg Williams, who has led the team from the very beginning. Auburn equestrian has stacked up national titles in recent years and might just be on the same trajectory right now. Isn't that right, Maddie?
Vince, Auburn equestrian made its way to the FEI World Cup finals as Michaela Langmeyer competed for Team USA in Basel, Switzerland. Continuing with more honors for the equestrian team, 5 Tigers were named All-Americans this past week in fences. Avery Glenn, Kate Haggerty, and Mary Grace Seegers were all named All-American First Team, with Ellie Ferrigno and Sophia Steckbeck both receiving All-American honorable mentions. In horsemanship, Alexia Tordoff was named All-American First Team, and Brooke Jolstad was named All-American Second Team. In flat, both Avery Glenn and Mary Grace Seegers received All-American honorable mentions. In reining, Alexia Tordoff was named All-American Second Team. Closing out equestrian, the team heads to Ocala, Florida for the NCEA Championships on April 17th at 1:30. The Tigers face number 7 Georgia as the number 2 seed in the quarterfinals. Good luck to our equestrian team this week.
Auburn Gymnastics hit the regional championships and put on a very strong showing. The Tigers finished second over Illinois and Nebraska, advancing to the regional final. From there, the Tigers finished third, just behind Oklahoma and Missouri. But a gymnastics Sweet 16 is certainly something to be proud of, so congrats to the team. Tiger Gymnastics is not done yet, though, as Gabby McLaughlin and Olivia Greaves still have some work to do for the Tigers in individual qualifiers in Fort Worth, Texas. Individually, Gabby will be representing the Tigers on beam, while regional co-champion Olivia Greaves will represent the Tigers on bars. Best of luck, Gabby and Olivia. We're rooting for you.
A big weekend for Anna Davis at the Augusta National Amateur. The Auburn sophomore Davis posted a 4-under par through 3 rounds and finished a tie for 11th. Davis's golf success continues as she leads the women's golf team through the SEC championships. The championships started on Monday and go until this Friday at the Pelican Golf Club. After round 1, Davis held a tie for first with a 5-under at 65. Carrie Warby followed with a tie for 4th with a 4-under at 66. The Lady Tigers hold a top 3 spot after Monday's round behind South Carolina at 1st and LSU at 2nd.
Guess who's back? Back again. The Auburn Tigers golf team is back in the #1 spot, so you might as well just tell a friend. Because that's right, folks. As of April 9th, Scoreboard and Clipped both ranked the Tigers at #1 in the nation. They've quickly been tested for this spot, though, as today they finished 3rd in the collegiate, despite a strong start. So maybe the real Auburn Tigers couldn't stand up. The Tigers came into the final round 4-under, which would have been enough to secure first place in the tournament over Texas, who shot 2-under, except for the fact that the Tigers finished the final round 8-over. Coach Nick Clenard said that today was an overall struggle and that the Tigers did not play at the level that they are capable of. The Tigers will have just a week to find their way back before the SEC championships in St. Simon's Island, Georgia begins.
This weekend, Auburn volleyball continues their exhibition run in Georgia at Tift County High School with a match against Florida at 1:30 Central. Admission is free for attendees. Auburn soccer finished their spring exhibition game series with a trip to Mobile as they faced South Carolina. Auburn women's track and field sprints into week 2 of the season with a climb up at the rankings with the number 15 spot in the NCAA. The men also made the top 25 as they hold the number 25 spot in the NCAA. This past weekend, both teams traveled to College Station, Texas for the 44 Farms Team Invitational Meet. 2 Tigers left Texas with podium finishes. Aaron Davis with a 2nd place finish in long jump and Rhiannon held a 3rd place finish in pole vault. Davis set a personal record for long jump with a jump of 7.72 meters. Another personal best from the Tigers, Alyssa Quiones-Mixon with a 4.28 meter clear on pole vault. Next up for the Track Tigers, a trip to North Carolina to compete at the Wake Forest Invitational on Thursday. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday for the recap on the Track Tigers.
We will have it here on Sports Night in Auburn for you. A lot of good stuff for Auburn sports this week. We got another trivia question for you, and we're going to hit it before this break. The 4x4 relay team of Masbarewa, Harvey, Reed, and Oke ranks where in Auburn track and field women's history? A, 10th, B, 1st, C, 15th, or D, 2nd? We'll have the answer when we come back.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."
I'll be right back. Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. The trivia question we left you with has an answer. We asked, where does the 4x4 relay team of Masbarewa, Harvey, Reed, and Oke rank in Auburn women's track history? The answer is letter D, 2nd. This powerhouse relay team ran an impressive time of 2:27.92, putting them in the silver medal position in Auburn history. Keep an eye out for these studs because they're looking to just get faster and faster and faster. Plenty of Auburn Tigers on the run this week. A couple on the track team and a couple more in the draft, in the portal, on a new roster, or staying home in Auburn. Let's start with the drafts. Michael Farmer has been on draft coverage since Auburn got cooked in the Iron Bowl in football and diced by Florida and San Antonio in basketball. He's ready to talk about the futures of these former Auburn stars.
Yeah, after losing to the eventual national championship winning Florida Gators, a couple Auburn players are off to the NBA draft, most notably superstar Janai Broome, if not the best, one of the best Auburn basketball players of all time. And joining him will be freshman star Tahad Pettiford, although Pettiford has maintained his college eligibility, so possibility for him to come back. Then on the women's side, second-team All-SEC player Deanna Gaston also entered the WNBA draft and somehow was not drafted. Not entirely sure how that works. In my opinion, was easily a draft-caliber player from what I know of women's basketball, which I will admit is not as deep as my football knowledge, but still, even to me, I feel like Gaston should have been a draftable player for sure.
Yeah, WNBA team certainly missed out there. Some to the draft, some to the infamous transfer portal. This is becoming more and more common these days. Plenty of guys are shipping around schools and exploring other NCAA options.
Yeah, and Ja'Kai Howard is the first of those that's off into the transfer portal. Former four-star recruit for Auburn, Presley Patterson, is also into the transfer portal. Auburn did win 100% of the games Patterson played, so tough loss for the Tigers. On the women's side, Oyindamala Akinbawala is also off into the portal, as is Yakaya Milton for the Lady Tigers. As far as players already with destinations set up, Jordan Hunter is on the way to Memphis, where they'll be able to enjoy the Bass Pro Shops Pyramid, so big plus out there. Then Talia Scott and Yuting Dong are both following Johnny Harris to Baylor, where they would look to become the biggest dynamic duo out of Baylor since Chip and Joanna Gaines. Tamaya Thurman is headed to Southern Miss, and then Audia Young is headed up to the Big East to Xavier because that Big East basketball money continues to talk. They have a huge budget up there for basketball, so hopefully all those former Tigers will be able to ball out at their new destinations.
Yeah, a lot of big names with a lot of big question marks. Micah, I'm going to ask you this. Which name, former Auburn name, current Auburn name, could be decided, do you think is the most vital to the team that they're leaving or going to in this year's transfer portal?
Well, for the men's, I think the most pivotal name is still Tahad Pettiford. If you can get him to come back and be the centerpiece of this Auburn squad next year, I think that's absolutely huge for the Tigers. Obviously, losing Broome is enormous. You lost Denver Jones as well, one of your best guards. So I think getting a centerpiece like Pettiford back would be a huge boost for Bruce Pearl and the men's team. Then on the women's side, it's Savannah Scott. Coach Larry Vickers is not going to have a ton to work with, to be honest, when he first gets here. It's been a mass exodus out of the Auburn program recently. It's going to be a very tumultuous time. And Scott down low, 6'4", is a physical presence down low on the block for the Auburn women. And in the physical SEC, that's really something you need. So maybe can be that stalwart down low to help this Auburn team kind of get into a rhythm as they start their season next year.
Certainly, and I know Bruce Pearl would be ecstatic if Agent Zero, Todd Pettiford, was able to come back to the Plains for another year. Micah, thank you so much. And we've got zeros on the shot clock for this one. This is all the time we have for this episode of Sports Night in Auburn. Make sure to follow our Eagle Eye TV Sports Instagram and subscribe to our Eagle Eye TV YouTube page. For this group, our producers, Sophia Weber and JoJo Kavanaugh. My name is Vince Wolfer, and we will see you next week. Good night, and War Eagle.
My parents weren't fluent in English, so in school I had